Welcome to another video, guys. This is not morning workout talk. I did work out this morning, but my morning workout talks are usually for Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But I'm on my way to work. I did work out this morning. I did yoga with my wife. Me and my wife both did our hour video yoga. And I feel rejuvenized, feel ready for work today. And on the news, after we did our workout video, I turned on the news to see what the weather was going to be like, what the traffic was going to be like, just to get any updates as to what's going on. And I heard the broadcast on the news or the television program and talking about Hurricane Milton, how it's going to be a Category 5 and it's going to be hitting Florida on the western part of Florida. Hurricane Milton. And again, I already know that weather is engineered, and so what I decided to do is play a little game. I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go on Google and I'm gonna have a discussion with Gemini. I don't know if you guys know what Gemini is. It's an AI app. It's an artificial intelligence app, and you can literally have a conversation with this artificial intelligence, and it's not a real person. It's a computerized program. And of course, it's programmed. That's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. What's being done is that whatever information that they want to use to mold the minds of the people, it's readily available to those who hold the power and wield the sword of oppression over the minds of the people who lack any animus or lack any spirit to go against their oppressors. So in other words, people who do not care about thinking, who love to just go with the status quo and just follow, are not at all a threat to the establishment, nor are they a threat to those who hold the power of oppressing the people. Information is a tool of weaponry. It's a weapon. It's a tool used to It's a weaponized tool. Information is weaponized, and it's used against the minds of the people. I was having a conversation with this AI app, Gemini, and just as me having a conversation with a human, that's how it was. When I spoke, it spoke back. When I asked questions, it answered it. It was phenomenal. But the dangerous part about that type of technology is that the information is prepackaged and programmed by those who wrote the program. You see, there's an established narrative that's categorized as truth that the controllers want you to abide in. You're not going to find truth in the systems that they provide you. It's no different than you going to a place that's known for giving out harmful drugs, and then you're taking your sick loved one to a place that gives out harmful drugs with the expectation that this place that gives out the harmful drugs will give your loved one the necessary chemical concoction to put them back in a healthy state. It's on that trajectory. It's analogous to that comparison that I'm talking about. You cannot expect the system that wages war on your mind to provide your information to help your mind go against the system that oppresses you. The system that oppresses you is not going to give you the AK-47 to shoot them down. If you get my analogy, meaning that your enemy is not going to give you weapons to destroy themselves. What they will do is give you information or give you things that you think are weapons. Then you get comfortable with being provided those things. Unbeknownst to you, due to your ignorance, you end up believing that those things that you're getting are to your benefit, where in actuality, the things that you are receiving is putting you more in a state of oppression and putting you more in a state to possess cognitive dissonance and to possess a high degree of apathy toward the instruments and the constructs that are put in your life daily that are used as a means of keeping you oppressed. So when I was having this conversation with this Gemini, I was asking it real questions. I said, hey, isn't it true that these category 4 and 5 hurricanes, aren't they engineered? Isn't geoengineering real? And as quick as I asked the question, the response came back immediately. This wasn't choppy AI. Like, it didn't sound robotic. It sounded like a real human talking to me. And the artificial intelligence, the voice, was like, yes, geoengineering is real, but there are a lot of debates on whether it's harmful to the planet or harmful to the environment, or if it's beneficial. Some studies say that it could be helpful for this and that, and some studies say it shouldn't. There's a debate about it, but geoengineering is real. But it's really supposed to, the scientists are trying, and this is me paraphrasing. I'm not telling you word for word what this artificial intelligence said to me. I can't really, my recall isn't that great to recall everything that was said to me, but I'm just doing my best to paraphrase the information so I can get it to you. And the voice was saying things to the effect of, in other words, geoengineering is okay, but there's a debate that it could be harmful. Then I asked it another question. I said, well, can't weather be controlled? And then this is when it got really, really, deep. And it seemed like the artificial intelligence voice is programmed in a way that it adds a decorum of psychology as it discusses things with you. It's never antagonistic. The voice is never put on a defense, nor does the voice take offense. It's emotionless. So what the voice does, it operates robotic but speaks normally like a normal human. So let me get you to understand what I'm trying to tell you. So when I said that isn't weather controlled, the voice didn't come back and be like, what are you talking about? Man, no, weather's not controlled. You're crazy. You're stupid. You're a conspiracy theorist. No, the voice doesn't do that. The voice always understands where you're coming from. It puts you in a state of ease. It says, I understand why you may have skepticism about blah, 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 but it's good to trust reputable sources. Believing that weather is controlled could be harmful, but there's a lot of scientific research on weather phenomena, and for you to think that weather is controlled betrays the natural occurrences of weather and doesn't give validity to the experts or something to that effect. That's what this AI voice said, and it sounded very good. But because I am the way that I am, because my brain is wired the way it is, I don't give a damn how intelligent this artificial intelligence thing sounds. And I don't give a damn about the information it's providing me, because the information that it's providing is coming from a source. It's not the voice, it's a program. It's no different than you reading something that's put on the computer, or you reading a passage, or you Googling something and looking for a definition for a particular term, and then the computer provides for you the term. This artificial intelligence voice just has good feedback time. It means that when I say something, it says something back immediately. But believe it or not, it's artificial intelligence because it's not natural intelligence of an entity that's talking to me that understands where I'm coming from. It's artificial because it's programmed. There's a difference. That's why they call it artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence could be front-loaded and uploaded with so much information that this artificial intelligence becomes the most smartest thing that you can talk to, because it's providing you information in real time. All right. So when this artificial intelligence is speaking to me, it always puts you in the mood to calm you down, which is good. I mean, it's a good practice. Whenever you're talking to people, you should never incite the emotional response, because inciting the emotional response gets you nowhere. When you have two people that are speaking from emotion and there's logic removed from the conversation, it can get very, very destructive, and the conversation can be really unproductive. So what you want to do is keep the person calm. So AI specializes in being a perfect conversationalist, in the same way that the artificial intelligence is so perfect in the fact that you can ask it any question and it can provide you the answer. Imagine having a friend that you can speak to, and that anything you say or any question that you ask, it can give you the precise answer you're looking for. Now, again, what you're looking for and what the programmers want you to know are two different things. You may be seeking truth, but if you have the psychological disposition that whatever you're reaching out to is the source of truth, then you've already made up your mind, preconceived notion, you've already made up your mind with that notion that, hey, this Gemini that I'm speaking to, this AI app on my cell phone or whatever device you hold, whatever smartphone, smart device you have, this voice that's talking to me has the ability to give me what I need. So if you already come from that disposition and you ask a question and that AI device gives you the answer, then you're going to just take that as the gospel. But I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all, because I know weather is engineered. It's a fact. The fact that the AI, the Gemini voice, the fact that it was a lady's voice, so I'm going to say she, but it's not a person. It's a computerized system. The fact that this AI voice, this female voice, told me that no, geoengineering is real. So they can't deny that geoengineering is real. It means that the spraying of chemicals in the air, the manipulation of radio wave frequencies using nanoparticulates, the fact that they're manipulating air masses using HAARP ionosphere technology, all these things that they're using to manipulate weather, it can't be denied. Because I was waiting, because if this voice said no, geoengineering is not real, I'm like, come on. Geoengineering is simply the scientific term for chemtrails. But when you say chemtrails, the algorithm of Google, the algorithm of the smart devices, they've programmed it to where if you use the term chemtrails, it automatically puts you in the category of a conspiracy theorist. And it puts you in the category of a person that's spreading misinformation, because the fact of the matter is that when you talk about chemtrails, it already has with it a stigma, and the stigma is steeped in negative connotation, and that negative connotation means that chemtrails, that serious aircraft are deliberately and intentionally spraying chemicals on people, okay, that are harmful. That's what chemtrails entails. In terms of the term chemtrails, it has a negative connotation. They don't want you to use chemtrails. So you have to be very smart and say geoengineering, which is why I use that term geoengineering. I could have said chemtrails, but I know for a fact the way AI is programmed, all AI, the programmers, the way they program AI, if you use the buzzword chemtrails, you're done. Like they won't even answer you, because it's like, okay, you already have a fixed mindset that they're using weather to attack people. They're using chemicals, they're spraying chemicals on people to cause people to get sick and cause people to have, upper respiratory issues and blah, 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 blah. They don't want you to think that way. So you have to be very careful with what terms you use. Sometimes when you're playing this algorithm game and this AI game, you have to almost use terms that are socially palatable or socially acceptable by the oppressive system in order to get to where you want to go. Because I knew if I started off with chemtrails, I would have been met with opposition of being a conspiracy theorist. So I said geoengineering. The AI voice couldn't deny that. It says, no, yeah, there is geoengineering going on, but it's done for the good of the environment. It's supposed to help with global warming. It doesn't help with global warming. It's deliberately evil. It's deliberately evil. But when people like me talk, or others who are trying to speak up about the truths of what's being done to us, we're called conspiracy theorists. We're called people who spread misinformation. And repeatedly, this Gemini voice, because we had a conversation, and I can't really recall everything that was said, but the main gist of what this artificial intelligence was talking about, every time I posed a question or threatened to question the mainstream information that's provided by reputable sources, because that's what this AI voice continued to repeat, saying that I need to trust reputable sources. And I would ask the question, like, who deems these sources reputable? Like, they're all saying the same damn thing. And then she would respond saying, the voice would respond saying, well, I understand your skepticism, and it's good to think critically, and it's good to ask questions, and it's good to do this and do that. But however, you have to be careful not to listen to certain social media, blah, 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 blah. But in my head, I'm like, well, whatever this voice is telling me, it can go both ways. It can be dangerous to listen to mainstream media, because mainstream media has the power to manipulate masses. To me, if you really want to think critically, which is more dangerous? A system that acts as some sort of hive mind for the minds of the people, where it's one mainstream source that provides information to the collective, and then that collective imbibes on that message, okay? They absorb that message, and it dictates their behavior and actions and temperaments. Or the alternative, where you have small pockets of people that are trying to come to their own truth. And yes, trying to come up with your own truth is sloppy. It is messy, because finding truth is very difficult. It's a complex endeavor. It's not something that you can just find easily. So those people that are seeking truth, because they don't have the funding, because they're not backed by mainstream, because they're not supported by the masses, because they're not supported by the consensus, so they're going to be pushed to the corner as the fringe, as the alien, as the foreigners, as the ones that are not needed, as the conspiracy theorists, as the ones that are spreading misinformation, where in fact they're just trying to find out information. I respect that more, because whoever you've given power to supply you the information, you've also given them the power to manipulate your mind with the information that they're providing you. So it's very important that the Gemini, this AI voice that was talking to me, that's why every time that I asked a question, she always came back with, I understand why you're saying that. I understand. It's good to be skeptical, because nothing that I said was out of bounds. Now, the artificial intelligence voice never agreed with me at all. Okay? And the way that the program is built, it always goes back to the underlying foundational premise that they want you to know that the reputable sources are here to protect you, and I can give you information on how to be safe during this Category 5 Hurricane Milton that's supposed to be hitting Florida, the western part of Florida. I can come in and give you some helpful resources on how to stay safe. So in all, every time I spoke to this Gemini on my smartphone, on my phone, it always went back. Listen to this. It always went back to being safe. And it goes back to what I've always told you guys, that we live in a fear-based environment. We live in a fear-based matrix. In the end, this Gemini voice wants me to stay logical, because that's what she said. She says, believing certain people could be harmful. Be careful where you're getting your information from. Question your sources, and trust reputable sources. And whatever you're listening to could be harmful, because it can cause harm to people that are trying to actually put out the truth. But that's not true. She also said something to the effect that we can't allow, because I posed a question and she agreed with me. She said, no, yeah, you're absolutely right. There are certain people that are in the science arena, that are in the science realm, that do operate disingenuously, that have bad motives. But this Gemini voice also told me that do not label the whole by the part. So the part is the one or two bad apples. Don't generalize. But that's the thing that's very, very tricky. It's not that I'm generalizing off of one or two people. There are powers at play that have created a system that people who are naturally genuine and want truth, who work for those systems, become manipulated by the systems that they put trust in. How can I explain this to make this a little bit more clear to you guys? I'll say it this way. You may have a doctor, okay, that's operating off of the education that he or she was taught while they were in school. But if you understand the foundation of the curriculum when you're pursuing a scientific endeavor, one specifically being a doctor, and there are many different types of doctors, but for the sake of this conversation, let's just use the term doctor. They study medicine, they study chemicals. But we know for a fact that true medicine comes from nutrition. It comes from herbs, plants. It comes from natural things like the sun. It comes from nature. But if you're studying, if your pivot, if your launching point is already in error, and you are a genuine person that loves the profession of being a doctor because you love to actually heal people, if your teachings were wrong from the get-go, from the inception, from the moment you started, if your starting point was already corrupted with false information, but yet you have a genuine soul and you have a genuine heart to actually heal people, that still puts you in the category of operating falsely, and also puts you in the category of inevitable malfeasance. Because inevitable malfeasance means that your practices are putting people in harm. But it's not that you're purposely going there to harm people. It's because you've been wrongly informed about how to heal people. So juxtaposed to healing, you have harm. So these people that work for these weather companies, meteorologists, people who are deemed to be weather experts, whatever the hell you want to call them, I'm not saying these people are out there doing evil, like, yeah, we're going to create storms to kill people. They're not doing that. They truly believe that hurricanes are a natural phenomenon because that's what they study. See, if your studying point, if you're coming from a wrong vantage point, which is what that AI is essentially, the AI is essentially a programmed system that's been given false information, all right, to brainwash the masses into propagandized information that's formed and based on the narrative that they want you to believe. And the way this artificial intelligence spoke to me, you can tell that that's the way the majority of people think. Trust your local authority. Trust this, trust that. Listen, I'm not trusting shit. I'm not trusting anything. I'm going to trust myself, number one. And I'm going to trust my experience, because that matters. I'm going to trust empirical data. I'm going to trust what the world has provided me since I was born. And the world has always provided corruption. And those who are corrupt are usually the ones that hold the power, whether it's the power to control or the power to pump out narratives, all right? Pump out storylines to manipulate the movements of men, because people move off of narratives. Just the other day, they were talking about the strike of workers who worked along the port. Hundreds and hundreds of people ran out to stores to buy toilet tissue and sanitary devices and wipes and cleaning devices, because the story and the narrative that was out there is that you need to go out because these products are not going to be in stores due to this strike. But lo and behold, a couple of days pass and the strike is over. And many of these people are stuck with these items that they've bought. They've bought like 4 or 5 months worth of toilet tissue. Now they want to go back and return those items, but the stores aren't taking them back. That right there is a prime example of how narratives dictate the actions of men. When they talk about Hurricane Milton hitting the western part of Florida, I'm not saying that Florida is not going to get hit with a hurricane. They will. What I'm saying that it could have been prevented because it's engineered. It's engineered. That's what they call weather warfare. And Gemini, she could not, the voice that I was speaking to, it could not deny that. It said it's real, but it's phrased in a way that it's good for the environment. The same way that medicines, take your medications, is good for your system. The same way we're told that these experts who study medicine have drudged up concoctions to heal your health, to heal you, to put you in equilibrium, to put you in a state of balance, and that's not true. But then as I continued to have this conversation with this AI voice, she said something to the effect of, well, new information is always coming out. There's no new information. There's nothing new underneath the sun. The reason why new information continues to come out is because they need to formulate things that are posed as new information to justify their corruption. So in other words, we didn't know this much, but we know more now. Now we're going to come out with a better product. And then 5 to 10 years later, they're going to say, okay, we have more information. Sorry, the old product we gave you was not good. This is a better product because we have more information. Then 5, 10 years from that point, so it's a repeated cycle that they continue to do. It's rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. It's the same damn thing. There's nothing new underneath the damn sun. We know what heals. There's no new information. We all know that viruses do not exist. But virology would say they exist because they need to justify viruses in order to sell their product. If I had a conversation with that AI voice and I talked about that, I'm sure the voice would have pushed back and said you have to be careful where you get your information from. Trust reputable sources. Trust peer-reviewed articles. Fuck those peer-reviewed articles. I don't give a damn if everyone's blind and all your peers are blind. Who gives a damn about if the reviews are peer-reviewed? If blind is leading to blind, who gives a damn? If they're all part of the same damn system, because they're all studying from the same roots. If the root is corrupt, then the whole tree is fucked up. The whole system, excuse my French, I get pissed off when people talk about peer-reviewed article, the consensus, science reviewed. Who gives a damn? It sounds good and intelligent, but it's all corruption. They have themselves built like a well-oiled machine that's made to stand against opposition, because they could always revert back to, oh, well, it's a consensus. These are the experts, the science. They're studying the science. What if what you're studying is wrong? What if your foundational premise of whatever you're studying is totally incorrect? Wouldn't that mean that whatever you produce from that base is also corrupt as well? Or is that just me? I mean, think about that. If you're studying mathematics in the most basic form of mathematics, whether it's addition or subtraction, and your process of adding numbers is flawed, how can you then call yourself a mathematician when your base is flawed? No matter how intelligent you are, no matter how great of a mind you have, whether you get into the more nuanced of mathematics or the deeper levels of mathematics, whether it's calculus, trigonometry, whatever it is, whatever you run into, if your foundation is corrupt, it doesn't matter how much you know up there. So the point I'm making is that I don't care that they're saying science does this, the experts do this. That's great that they're putting on these lab coats, that they're working with these technologies to find, what's going on in people's bodies and what's going on in our atmosphere and our stratosphere and what's going on in the environment. These people probably do have a genuine ambition to create systems that are beneficial for humanity. But how can you genuinely create a system that's beneficial for humanity where the root of the system was made to be a detriment to humanity? So therefore, your genuine passion becomes a weaponized, listen to me what I'm saying, your genuine ambition to do better for people and the environment becomes something that's corrupted and weaponized against the people that you're trying to save, and feeds the oppressive system that put the system there in the first place to use to wage war against the people. So people like doctors and these scientists, epidemiologists and virologists and environmentalists or meteorologists, all these people that study all these sciences, they're genuine. I believe that they are. Maybe the majority of them are. I'm sure there's some that are corrupt. But they genuinely believe that they're the experts. And that's the problem when you think you're the expert. Where did you get your expert information from? And who deemed the information that you received to be an expert information? Because if you have a wrong foundation, okay, and then you're studying off of that wrong foundation, if you have a wrong foundation and you're studying off of that wrong foundation, and then you have a group of people that are debating off of that wrong foundation, it's just a bunch of worms and dirt. It's a bunch of pigs and filth. That's what that is. It's filthy information, and no one's getting cleaned up because everyone is rummaging and rubbling through the dirt and the mud. That's what's happening when you have wrong information. It's sort of if I tell somebody the basic rules of math, and someone says 2 plus 2 is 4, right? And then someone else says, no, 2 plus 2 is not really 4. 2 plus 2 is actually 6, right? And then we go off of the premise that 2 plus 2 is 6. And this person, that's deemed an expert, has a complex way of explaining how 2 plus 2 can equal 6. And this is just me hypothetically speaking to get to my point. We all know that 2 plus 2 is 4. But let's say for this example, this person comes and finds out an elaborate way to make 2 plus 2 equals 6. And then decades from now, you have people arguing the validity of 2 plus 2 equals 6. But if everyone's arguing off of the point of 2 plus 2 equals 6, it just means that everyone is arguing off of a wrong premise. Because people have established 2 plus 2 being 6 as the standard. In the same way that people have identified these so-called experts as having the key information of which we pivot every other thing from, in which we extrapolate every other thing from, sort of acting as the tentacles of truth, meaning that you have many tentacles that are coming from this one source, right? But if that one source is false, then all the tentacles don't mean shit. They're dead. They're done. So that's what's happening. Whether you're talking about medicine, whether you're talking about weather, because weather is controlled, they won't tell you about the ionosphere heaters. They won't talk about HAARP. And if they do talk about these things, they're going to say it in a way where it's supposed to be good for you. The same way that a certain thing that you inject inside you is supposed to be good for you. The same way that Tylenol is supposed to be good for you. The same way that aspirin is supposed to be good for you. The same way that certain foods that are promoted as being healthy are supposed to be good for you. The same way that drinking alcohol in moderation is supposed to be good for you. I've never known of taking toxins in moderation to be good for you, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, Hurricane Milton is part of geoengineering, where you manipulate air masses and you play with the hydrologic cycle of the planet. There are natural consequences that occurs from that. The only thing natural about those disasters are the consequences that are coming due to the hands of men manipulating weather. It's not a natural phenomenon. It's not a natural phenomenon. Hurricane Milton is also a fraudulent hurricane that's been formed by the hands of men. It's called geoengineering. Don't use the term chemtrails, because if you use the term chemtrails, no one's going to take you seriously, because they've already deemed chemtrails to be the buzzword to put people in that category of being nut jobs or nut cases, or people who are steeped into harmful conspiracy theories. And the AI thing is big on harm. It likes to preface things like that. That's how I know it's part of the system. The system is always going to put fear inside of you to make you believe that they're here to protect you from harm. We want you safe and effective. Safe, harm, safe. What are we freaking afraid of? Like, that's the thing that I want to ask. What is out there that's so scary that we always need constant protection from? It's not that serious, folks. It's really not. It's really not that dire of a situation where you consistently need to be protected. The only thing that we need protection from are those so-called reputable sources, and the weather controllers, and the food industry. All these governmental agencies, those are who we need protection from. But yet, they're the ones that are telling you that they're trying to keep you safe from the things that are probably going to be good for you. So this Gemini, this artificial intelligence voice, tells me that I have to be careful who I listen to. Make sure that I'm not just listening to... Social media can be dangerous. Yes, social media can be dangerous. But this Gemini is also accusing me of the same thing that she accused me of doing. She said that I have to be careful not to take a couple of few bad apples and generalize the entire science arena. But I'm not really doing that. Because I don't believe it's a matter of good apples or bad apples. I believe that it's just a problem of wrong information. The AI voice talks about misinformation. Well, the greatest misinformation to hit humanity is the misinformation from the scientists, from the science world. All right? That's the misinformation. So out of misinformation, it causes people to have an inevitable response that cannot be stopped or halted. It causes them to want to seek the right information because from a DNA perspective, genetically, we are wired to seek truth. And when we are misinformed, it's just natural. That's why the Gemini voice kept telling me that I understand it's okay to be skeptical. It's good to be skeptical. It's good to be skeptical. She always prefaced her answers by telling me that it's good to be skeptical. Yeah, it's good to be skeptical. Because naturally, when you're being lied to, it makes you scratch your head. You're like, well, something doesn't make sense. And then once you start to understand that something doesn't make sense to you, though it's subjective, but you can only operate off of your subjective mind because it's you that's going to be responsible for digesting the information and interpreting it the best way you can. So if you do have a subjective mode of thinking, that's fine. You're never supposed to just agree because everybody else agrees. You are allowed to be an individual, believe it or not. So don't follow anything mainstream. Follow yourself. Listen to other people like me. Listen to other people on social media that are questioning the things that are done by mainstream. It's okay to question those in power. You know. But the Gemini voices want you just to give in to reputable sources, but those in power are the ones that control the media. So it's a paradox to a certain degree. And it makes it very difficult. So that category 5 is coming, and they're telling people to evacuate if need be, and consider taking things that you're really gonna need. This is war. We're constantly at war. You guys think war is about bombs and guns. No, the new type of war is weather warfare, using weather as a way to bring cities to their knees. And that's what's gonna happen. That's what's going to happen. People's homes are going to be destroyed. There are going to be deaths. The region is going to be wiped out. And then, of course, the vultures are going to come in to build what they want to build. It's a land grab. It's a real estate grab. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. The reason why conspiracy theories or theorists even exist is because the true conspirators are those that are in power. So when the true conspirators are conspiring against the majority of humanity, then it's only natural for those who are being conspired against to come up with their own theories to counter the conspiracy that's against them. It's a warfare for truth. It's a warfare for information. It's an age of information warfare. So that's my spiel for today. And Hurricane Milton, engineer. They even give these things names. Amazing. That's a patent, folks. That's like a brand. These people are getting rich off of these storms. And of course, I'm a crazy YouTuber. I'm spreading misinformation, and what I'm saying is dangerous. No. Trying to find truth and spread truth isn't dangerous. What's dangerous is for me to go on living as if nothing's happening and just speak to the same narratives that everyone else is speaking to. Not only do I speak to them, they want me to also believe in it and operate accordingly to those beliefs. Anyway, that's my spiel for today. Again, guys, leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think. Again, Hurricane Milton is engineered. Geoengineering. And like I always say, take care of yourself because your health is your wealth. Peace. Till next time.